got next?
Yeah. Yo, we are back. Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning or good evening, whichever the side of the globe you're listening to us on. And welcome to the season 4 premiere, episode 1 of the Street Fighter I Got Next community podcast discussion going down
Hey,
today with your host, ShadowAce, aka Modern Ace, and Sir Retro, aka the mayor of Macon himself. If you've missed out on previous episodes of the seasons from seasons 1 through 3, you check them out on Reboot Retrocade Gaming's YouTube channel, labeled podcast for that season 1 through 3 playlist for full episodes on YouTube. Shout out to our day ones and all of our supporters who carry this series. You guys are the MVPs because before the beginning of each season, I like to gauge the interest of people who listen, and you never know who is tuning in to check us out. So, like, are we doing a good job or not? I kind of gauge the interest in you want us to do another season or not. That really determines how the flow of the show will go, and it's the people. So, thank you. Thank you to everyone. So, without further ado, bro, let's get started. I guess I'll go ahead and introduce myself here. I am Shadow Ace. I've been a competitive Street Fighter player, one half of the I Got Next team, one Street Fighter player for over 10 years, starting all the way back from Vanilla Street Fighter 4 as my introduction into the FGC. I played El Fuerte and a couple of other characters. Then in Street Fighter 5, I played Rashid until Ed came out in season 2. And that's when I really hit my real, I would say, competitive grind by attending various events more often within the Southeast. In Street Fighter 6, I play Jamie and Lily at the moment, waiting on Terry. As y'all heard that 176th Street intro, yeah, saying the few real ones know about that, and looking to try Elena out too when she comes out. But nowadays, I would say I'm more on the casual side of things. I have not competed offline in quite some time, but hopefully that'll change soon. Hopefully, maybe Terry's that character that lights the fire for me to go out there and do some damage. But I'll enter an online tournament every now and then, but mostly I just commentate, which I found to strive for, and I have been doing that more often for over about 5 years now. But I tune into various events here and there with support for the scene and the players, and now I host this podcast discussion with Sir Retro called "I Got Next." So, Sir Retro, introduce yourself to the good people.
woo, we are so back, baby. What's going on? For those who do know, and those who do not know, especially, so Retro, aka they call me the mayor of Macon, the head TO of the Mill Georgia FGC, and specifically for Reboot Retrocade Gaming and Swagged Out Nerds Esports Organization. Of course, I also do dabble in other avenues and other things within the industry, the community, and outside the community. But of course, I help coach, I help do compete, commentate, all around jack of trades, as seen in the intro, and among many other hats I wear. But definitely, that's who I am in a nutshell. I'm the second half of the I Got Next podcast series alongside with ShadowAce. Been doing this for a good couple of years, and now we're at season 4, which is crazy to believe that we made to 3 seasons.
Wow.
We did it for more than a few shows in general. Not many shows make it that far, but hey, here we are. I'm excited to see um, how everything goes in this one. Of course, this episode is a lot because you see a lot of things that happened since our last season, and I'm excited. And of course, guest wise, I'm excited to bring this person up to the stand to present themselves. So, all right, Chavez, who do you think we have today?
Man, they see the name there on the screen, and we've been teasing this individual for quite some time. We have Buddy like friend in the building. Buddy, how are you doing today, sir?
Good to have you and good to be here. I'm doing great. Honestly, I'm so happy to be here right now. So happy that you guys are putting this on together and just yeah, thank you so much for letting me be a part of it.
For sure, man, for sure. Introduce yourself to the good people out there. Who's Buddy like friend?
Sure, sure. So yeah, my name is BuddyLikeFriend. I'm a community leader here in Atlanta, Georgia, and I think kind of since the dawn of Street Fighter 6, I've made a great intention to try to both connect all of the local communities, try to build within that, and kind of build up all the players here. I've coached, I've been coached, I've taught, I've led different events, different communities, both here in Atlanta and where I'm from home originally, actually, which is Northern California, Bay Area. Um, so yeah, I've probably been a part of the FGC for, gosh, I want to say somewhere in the ballpark of about 15 to 20 years now, somewhere in there. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I really love the community. Kind of no matter where you go, if there's a scene for it, regardless of what game you play, I'm always just happy to kind of enrich those elements there.
Okay. Now I know you've organized events in the past, like training and watch parties,
Mm-hmm.
for the local ATL community, like all stemming from the 4-4 esports.
Right,
Shout out to Greg, one of the OGs. Like when I occasionally tune into the streams on Friday, I see a lot of new faces. I like, kind of like
right.
I would say like a next generation type of field that it has for it for like all of the new players. And I like what I see. I like to see the growth. I like to see the fellowship of competing. I know I've not been active at 404 as much as you guys, of course. But you being sort of like a patriarch is like a testament that a scene can grow and develop. Like I know the frequent players up there, the twins, Yugo and Bakryu. There's
Yeah.
campaign. There's Doom, Musa, Fatality, and others.
Right.
What motivates you to keep doing what you do?
Uh, Certainly. Yeah. Great question. I think I think fighting games in general, at its core, are, to quote a great player, something so great, uh, Tokido. And I think that there's something really special about this activity, um, because fighting games at their core don't really give you a reason to play them. What I mean by that is, like, if you play other types of video games like RPGs or shooters or other things, typically those games, just for playing them, they sort of reward you in some sort of metric. Either you unlock a further storyline, or your character gets stronger through different sort of abilities you grow, or whatever. But Street Fighter and fighting games in general, right? The individual player has to find joy, like, inherently within the game of their own volition. There's no one going around them saying, "Hey, you should love this game because you love it." You know, like it's just sort of something that inherently someone has to appreciate. And I think as a result of that, um, it makes everyone in that community so passionate because no one is there that doesn't want to be, right? Almost, I don't know about you, but it is extremely difficult to try to get someone who is not into fighting games unless I like take them to the parade, of like Evo Pass and such. So for me, the reason I do a lot of this is because I love seeing so many people so passionate about something that they care so much about. They put so much of their time, so much of their energy, their finances, their travel, just so that they can be a part of this. And to me, that's really
Mm.
inspirational. I love seeing people grow, see people develop, see people just enjoy their lives in rich and fulfilling ways. And the fighting game community to me is perpetually just this sort of underground scene that is always building and giving to itself. And so for me, I've always found a desire to try to promote that, to try to give back where I feel I have been given in trade.
Okay. And it's fair to say, that you are a community leader because of that, because of the way you view the scene from a different lens versus like a player just coming in just to play and go on about his day. I feel like you go a step above and beyond that to get to know the players in the scene, and I think that's very important for keeping the scene together, especially. Oh, they feel like they're welcome, right? It's not like just a stranger where
Right.
you come in, you play, and then you just leave. It's like, hey, you're talking to them. Hey, how you doing? How's your day? What's going on? This, that, and the third. It's that type of connection that makes that person feel wanted and feel more appreciated in being around that area. So it's not really a stranger type of vibe. You get to know the person a little bit more. You could develop a friendship. You could network into other things with that person as well. So, and if I look at it like from Sir Retro, Sir Retro, he's a trooper. Like the amount of blood, sweat, and tears he puts in to ensure that the FGC community of Macon has somewhere to go and play. That's what I respect, man. I respect both of you guys. Like when I tried to organize some events for Street Fighter Five back, and 4-4 back in the days, the support wasn't as strong as it could have been. But that's a topic for another day. But I feel that now that you guys are the forefront, like if I think of the Street Fighter 6 community in Georgia, you two are definitely on that list of people who are just pushing it forward to try to make it happen, because without that brand of support and leadership, I don't think the thing would be where it is right now. Like this amount of months of promotions, you're in the Discord, you're organizing events, training sessions and stuff like that. It shows that you care about the growth of your team. It feels like you're not just in it for just trying to get the money and go home, Hey, oh, these guys ain't strong enough. Let me go win. No, you want to make sure that your players are being able to level up, get stronger with you, get better with you. So that's why you get these more intense matches and intense rivalries and things like that to make the scene more competitive as they grow, and then word spreads out, and then it just happens from there. So I like that. I like that you're doing what you're doing, and I do support it, and just keep going on with that, man. So Retro, let me ask you a question. As one of the community leaders as well for your scene in Macon, do you stand by on Buddy's points where he was like, oh, this is what he does to make sure his scene grows as well?
Literally, yeah. I mean, so I'll actually say it like this, and this is definitely the inspiration, like as a gratitude for him. Like literally, when I met Buddy or saw his posts and stuff about going around and actually like meeting people all over, not only the state but the country, it pushed me. It was like, oh man, this is the type of person I really like to see more of in the community, and that was really like he
Mhm.
helped. He pretty much personified more than I would like to be for myself. But um, definitely, it was like a breath of fresh air to see someone else having that same passion and compassion and the ambition to look at the chat sometimes, but yeah, I love my scene, but the passion and compassion to and ambition and everything that like gives that drive, and that inspired me. Not that I've like planned to like give up or be done with the community at a point, but it's where sometimes like dang you wish you had more people willing to invest into the community. I know it's not easy because as a TO, obviously you give out a lot and you may not get much back from it in many ways, at times. But to see someone in general, just even as a player, to inspire and push out, and having the same ideas that line up with yours, very, very, very inspiring. So thank you, buddy, for doing what you're doing, and thank you for rejuvenating me to keep pushing for our scene. And of course, you'll see in the announcements at a point the fruits of the labor. So that's really I'm pretty much grateful for you for doing what you're doing. And trust me, if I have more money and time, I'll join you on those road trips for sure. For sure.
That's
Hey,
so
everybody
kind
needs
of
a
you to
buddy.
say.
Everybody
Yeah,
needs a buddy, man.
everybody needs a buddy.
Everybody. There it is. There it is. So once again, thank you for joining us in on this episode. So had the little icebreaker there, but I do have what I like to call a brain buster here, a little teaser to get the brain flowing before we get into these topics here, and it's just kind of like just a word riddle, real quick. So either one of you guys can answer. Um, what? Let's see. So this 5-letter word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it. What's the word?
Wait, say the question one more time.
This 5-letter word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it. What's the word?
Oh man. Shoot.
I know, but I'm not gonna say. I'll let the guests figure it out.
I have no clue. I'm terrible at this. Look, man,
It's
tell
all
me when to
good.
wake up shore you. I don't know these word games.
It's all good. Retro, what you got?
Short.
Yeah, there it is. All
Ah,
right, GG. It's all good.
up.
Yep. Yeah, that's all good. But yeah, we're gonna have dive right into the panel right here. So Evo, Evo was just past this week or so, just past weekend. Um or the week before, I'm sorry. Darn, time is just moving fast. Fast. And it's just been so long since our season 3. It just feels like we
Mhm.
were just doing an episode the other day and now we're here. That's wild.
For me,
But
it
yeah,
feels like
Evo
forever.
2024, yo.
Like,
I know. You said it feels like forever, but it felt like I blinked and we right here.
I
What's going
mean,
on with time?
true. Like to me, like man, because for me, part of me was like, I wonder if we're gonna have a new episode. Oh yeah, we did. We did set a date and stuff, and it's like
Hmm.
it's been a long month for me personally. I think that's why I'm like,
I think that yeah, that's probably why. This
mhm.
is probably like other things that may have kind of made it a little bit longer. But yeah, so Evo 2024 recap real quick.
Woo.
What do you guys some favorite? I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot going on that weekend. What are some of your favorite moments from Evo this year? Like, so can y'all check out any of the Evo streams?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you mind if I go first on this one,
Oh,
Retro?
Yeah, please.
please do.
I mean, I'll just say, like, there is, there was so much happening at this Evo that I was just starstruck at. Um, I'll just start off with the first one that was really emotional for me, which was Punk taking Street Fighter 6.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers for those who
Mhm.
haven't seen it yet, but yeah, I think I don't know. Somebody did the math of it, but like there hasn't been an American who has won a Las Vegas Evo. I think, like in terms of Street Fighter, I don't think there's been one that was a concurrent Street Fighter game. Not like while Street Fighter 4 was happening, that a Street Fighter 2 tournament going on. Not that,
Right,
but
right.
like a concurrent
Mhm.
Street Fighter game. I don't think an American has won that in Las Vegas at Evo in like 20 years or something crazy like that. So
Right.
so long that Street Fighter 4 was around. Like, let me put it that way. Um, and I legitimately, I don't know. I just it felt so nice to like finally feel like our country kind of like had a chance. Do you know what I mean? Like, cause so
Right.
many years, I was around during Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 3 days, and like
Mm.
it was just back in those days, man. It was we only had East Coast West Coast beef because we knew that we were all just waiting in line to get destroyed by the Japanese. Like that was it. We knew we were gonna lose in those brackets, and it just always felt so disheartening to like root for your team so hard, but only to know that like you would eventually lose. You know what I mean? And like
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know, just watching hell, it could have been any American, but just watching Punk especially was just so incredible. And I really, man, just like you could just see it in his eyes. When he won, he didn't pop off. He was like in tears. He just had his hands over his eyes the whole time. And I cried immediately to that. That was just so emotional for me. Just like so cathartic of like so many years where it just felt like this dream was impossible and finally, you know, you know, one of our own was able to take it. So I love that moment so much.
Mm. Yeah, that was definitely one for the history books for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it could happen. It could happen next year. It's possible,
Yeah,
but
now it's possible.
now it's possible. Now people are gonna have to start paying attention and be like, hey, hold on, U.S. I had USA might be a contender up there. It's not. It might not be all about this country or that country anymore. So the
Right.
fact that they're able to compete now at this level, now this game kind of has a way of expressing more player creativity in regards to its approach. I feel like it almost feels like almost anyone can win in this game. The way it's
Right.
balanced out to it. It's just up to the person themselves utilize every mechanic in every specific situation. And the way Punk was playing, he was comfortable. There wasn't any nerves, wasn't no doubt. He was fully confident. He was calm. Most people that would be on the stage would be like kind of panicking in their mind because like, yo, I'm playing in front of X thousand amount of people, and people are
Right.
watching me from all across the country. Like, what? The nerves would be actually my nerves would be shot. I'd be like, yo, I can't even move my hands right now. But the fact that you're a professional, done this before, you've been on this stage like this time you finally you achieved the goal of winning the big one. So shout outs to Punk for that iconic moment, for sure, man. There was a lot going on at Evo. I will say that there was a
Yeah.
Woo.
lot of moments going on in so many different streams and so many different games going on, man. I'm pretty sure I missed thousands of hype moments, but games I did watch, I did enjoy the content. I enjoyed the commentary for it, but I think another big one was Hugo, the iconic Evo 13.
Yeah. Hi
Yeah.
Al. Hi
The Hugo,
Al.
I was Hugo.
Oh,
Mm.
Yeah, that was crazy.
talk about
His
inspirational,
third
man.
strike run was ridiculous, man. How do you pilot? It's like he's piloting a tank or a boat or something. Like, how do you pilot a character like that? How do
And
you do
how do
it?
you
I
do it
don't
so
know.
successfully and still do gymnastics while you're doing it? What?
Bruh.
Oh my gosh,
We
this
had
man's
bingo
celebrations
cards,
pop off
man.
are crazy.
And I watch party. That bingo man, we had bingo cards like crazy. And well, someone got bingo and stuff as a result. Cause we did like fun stuff for free drinks and whatnot. But the third strike was pretty much like filled people with bingo cards like crazy. Cause unexpected moments were just ooh man. But in general, yeah. If even leading up to it, like when going to the pools in top 24, watching Ohio, literally like he was just he was entertainment on top of like
Of course.
skill, very talented, very skilled player, and for him to perform at an age at 41 and do all that stuff in the flex
Yeah.
and do everything like that, and the knowledge, because the way that ending against Frankie BFG, like major respects to that player too, because he's a really strong player from the Jazzy circuit and stuff and all, but that moment when after the parry and
Oh.
using the most worthless move to
Yeah.
dodge the super as like almost a read,
That's
it was
into something like
insane.
that. I don't understand. How do you think of something in that particular moment and on those particular frames to just do that move? Like, was this practice? Did he had to go into the lab to practice that particular setup, or is this like, I think if I just do this, I know this button can hop over lows, right? I know it
No,
can hop over lows. So how do? Okay, go ahead.
At
Sorry.
least, yeah. But a
So I'm like,
super
I'm trying to figure that out. Uh-huh.
that high. I mean, because that game in particular with animation and the design of characters like moving like it's they very like it's crazy. Not realistic. I would say realistic per se, but it's very interesting how that works and to have the knowledge to understand how it functions. That takes a lot to like yeah to time it right was crazier and that shows for the like for all those years, for that game, because like I said, that one of the games that was initially a failure in itself at the launch for in the beginning because it's double and all that stuff, but to the point where then now it's regarded as one of the most underrated gems in the series or in a way, and now like to the fact it came back after so long. Of course, the famous Evo 37 moment, and now you have Evo 30 number 38 apparently according by so many people.
yes.
Ah,
I
for sure.
mean, that
That's
made
for
me
sure.
love that game in particular, but also made me love fighting games more. It actually got whole top six because the other one was Issei doing the comeback with no Magic Pixel with against Charity, I think, in the finals
Oh yeah.
when he had no health, and oh my gosh, and then he got the gay engine, and the whole crowd was going, "Hey, hey!" I was like, "Yes." Oh, we was at Reboot screaming, yelling, and everybody was like, "What is going on?" And people start tuning in to what was going on to the Evo stuff, and we had on TVs and stuff, and people were like, "What?" Yeah, it's like half our players are there. Like literally, that was the Super Bowl for us, and the staff was like, "Y'all guys can do whatever. We love y'all." But seeing all that and screaming at those type of moments with Hayo and all, oh man, that's like that was a highlight. That made my weekend.
Um, I'm sure there was also a variety of different other games too. Man, it was just a lot going on. It had
Yeah.
shouts to Terrence. Terrence got he ended up getting second in Street Fighter Five Evo. So
Hey.
shouts to Terrence, that's one of our local
Wait, Terrence got
tournament
second in Street
players.
Fighter Five. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. He almost won.
Yo,
He
that's so
almost
cool.
won. He almost won, yo. He was almost there. He was fighting against a Bison player. I think his name was like Freezy or Free something, but he almost won Evo. I would have been like, oh my god, Georgia won Evo,
Bro.
yo. He was there, but second place is really good too, man. So
Yeah, of
shout
course.
out to Terrence, man. Shout outs to Terrence. I'm really impressed, man,
Yeah, there was some
by
upsets
that. We
too.
had yeah, it was somebody
Yeah,
else, a couple
Georgia
of
made an
upsets.
upset in
Oh man.
Tekken in particular. Um, Someone beat Charithi. Was it Nomar beat Chikurin from in Tekken, and I was like, wait, Georgia? Oh snap! We got hyped. JJ Breeze almost won against Rain Chu. Like we literally was like causing Georgia stepping up and performing well in general. Like
Mhm.
was a highlight for me personally too. We had five guys that went to the tournament. One got 193rd in Grand Blue, and that was him playing Grand Blue that not too much, and he enjoyed the game. And he's not novice, but he definitely was causing problems, and we made our pools and everything. And of course, we had Shadow, we had Blendle Ben, Big Boss DP, and Grandmaster. That was all there. So seeing and then they seeing them doing really well. So and then watching us at Atlanta, just knocking on Korea door and just saying, "Hey, we're still here." And that's really like that's how to me when Georgia's doing well. That's always my favorite moments.
Yeah, of
Yeah, you
course.
can't sleep on nobody. You cannot sleep on anybody. Competition is real. The players who want it are the ones who are going to succeed the most. Honestly, I don't mean to be as blunt like that. I don't know. Is that wrong to say? I guess the players who have the most, the most passion for it, they're going to show. The results are definitely going to show. And yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of
Mm-hmm.
players went. I don't think anybody really went too bad, like no 0-2s or now maybe a 1-2, but at least they were able to compete there. So shout outs to any and all of our Georgia players who went to Evo and did their thing out there. They bought Infinite came back to do the Jazzy NYC remix
Yeah,
for the Third Strike intro.
dude,
I was like,
Yeah.
yo, wait a minute, is that? I was like, that Infinite? No freaking way. I got hyped just off of that because I heard the voice. I was like, wait a minute, sounds just like the Third Strike announcer. Wait a minute, I looked it up. Oh snap, it is. No way. After all those years, he came back.
bro.
20 something years, they brought Infinite back just for that special intro. That was God, like that caught me off guard, yo. I was hyped for that. I was hyped for
Absolutely.
that,
That was so cool. There were so many cards.
but
Honestly, Third Strike I just feel showed up in so many ways. You know what I mean? Like everyone again, kind of speaking to what I said earlier about how just everyone is so a part of their community. That game came out what, 99? What are we
Mhm.
over 20 years ago, and
Yep.
people are still just as passionate as when it came out. You know what I mean? Like that's so incredible, and it shows. The players that were out there, Hayao, he's not picking a top character. He's picking the character he wants to play because it's fun, and he's just having a great time. And his exuberance was so clear in all of his showmanship and everything. You know what I mean?
Right. He was able to
True
celebrate. He
facts.
he played with he played with what he was comfortable with, and I think
Right,
that's important. I think that's important as a player. Like you, I think you enjoy the game more when you find a character that fits your style and the way you want to play versus like, oh, okay, I'm gonna pick this character because it's just top tier. So
right.
the passion did show. He showed nobody really expected Hugo like that, right? And to be doing so much damage and push the character to
Yeah,
the limits, man. So shout out to Ohio, yeah. But
absolutely.
yeah, sorry, y'all had any more hype moments? I think another one I guess I say was the Heihachi reveal.
Oh yeah.
In Tekken 8, that was kind of crazy because I was like, wait a minute, he's not dead. They gotta be trolling. I thought
Right.
it honestly from the trailer, it looked like it was just gonna be Raiden for Mortal Kombat because I was like, I saw monks and stuff, and I was like, okay, maybe it's Raiden because he had the hat on. And I saw the bulky build, and I was like, "Wait a minute, is that Goken from Street Fighter?" I was like,
No, I saw the wave
and
dash. I knew.
I was like, "Oh, that's Heihachi, dog. They brought him back.
Yeah, of
No
course.
way." But yeah, they Tekken 8 got and we had the Terry teasers. I got hype off of that,
Oh yeah.
especially because
Oh
I'm
yeah.
definitely waiting on Terry to play him. So we'll get more information when that character comes out soon. But yeah, man, Evo was great, man. I would say there was a lot of energy, there was a lot of passion for this event like that, and it's things like that can be introduced from the world. Because you remember Retro, you said that at your bar, you had people tuning in. It's like, oh, what game is this? Or like, what are you guys
Yep.
watching? Or what's all the commotion? What's going on? And they stand there and watch it with you and check it out. Oh, they're interested. They get interested like that, just off of civilians just passing by. So I'm glad that you guys brought
Mm-hmm.
out that energy. You guys had a bingo night. Um, I think, Buddy, you guys did a watch party over there on your end.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
we yeah,
So,
we did a
mhm,
watch party over here. Mhm.
okay. So yeah, you could definitely know that the passion for fighting games is at an all-time high for sure, and it's definitely the future, man. The future of fighting games is it's a great experience, and people make like lifelong friendships just off of playing fighting games at events. So can't take that away.
That's right.
So fighting games will always be a staple, man, an important place in people's hearts. So you can see like if people get emotional about certain things in regards to the game, you gotta let it rock, man. That's just pure passion. I see that
Yeah.
when I see that, I'm like, all right, that person meant that. They meant that. So that's to fighting games, man. So that was it. Did you guys have any more moments for me before you wanted to talk about, or you guys good to go for the next one?
Yeah, I think that was it. I mean, Hiya, yeah. I would just say the only other thing I would have mentioned that I wish I was there for was the 2X KO, cuz that game is looking so good. I'm going to be really honest. I have such high hopes for that game just because I want it to be what I think Street Fighter Cross Tekken could have been. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that I I know this doesn't really happen in traditional fighters, but I love the idea that like you can have literally like you and a friend fighting someone else and their friend on the same street, like on the same game, like fighting game together. You know what I mean? Like just the cooperation of it. I think that's so cool. I hope that's what the future of this game is.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, man. There was what was that like? They had also had like Mark of the Wolves, Garrow Mark of the Wolves
Mm-hmm.
included in
Yeah,
that
that's
game
right.
too as well. Yeah, so fighting games are on a boom right now, and we're
Yeah,
just a part of
man.
the ride. So I can't wait to see when all of this comes out and just see where all these new players are gonna come in and do some work too as well. So
Yeah.
we're itching closer and closer to the date of those games. Um, Speaking of that, yo, we're gonna move in to the next topic here. I think and I think this has kind of been an interest. This is an interesting topic. It might get a little spicy, but we'll see how it goes. So,
Okay.
guest characters in fighting games, right? It seems to be the more occurrence nowadays where fighting games are adding guest characters, aka characters not from the game's universe and story. Like how do you guys feel about guest characters in fighting games? I don't have a problem adding a guest character to a fighting game. However, I do feel the character should fit the theme of the universe the character is going to fight in, or at least be relative to the story in some way. Like that's like putting Sonic the Hedgehog as a special guest character in Soul Calibur. It, it sounds wild. If you remember, this is the same franchise that had Yoda, Darth Vader,
Right.
Spawn, Link. The
Ezio from
apprentice from Star
Assassin's
Wars.
Creed.
Yeah, yo, when special guest characters make up, I don't know, man. Like when special guest characters make up 50% of your season pass, though, I don't know about that one, yo. So,
Yeah.
so what do you? So let's do your talk. Your retro. Go first, man. What you think about this one?
Okay, like I said, I'm personally fine with that. I think in the sense for what happened with season two specifically for Street Fighter, that's why me I'm like I'm waiting for year three. But aside from for personal reasons, aside from that, I think that's the thing is that normally if you want to seek a guest character, it depends on like the let's say quality in a sense. Like if Street Fighter Six particularly was having like six characters per season, and so forth. Like if like more characters was featured first that like fits in the universe or in that sense, or main they're not outside like third company stuff. Then I like to see those type of things them go first, and then later on introduce the guests and so forth like that. Because then by then you pretty much have a good amount of characters and settings and everything that's fitting for that game itself and whatnot. And then it's like, hey, well, okay, we're done with the most part. Well, here you go. Here's some guests and so forth to be featured. Personally, if I did expect it, like, I wouldn't be surprised though if Capcom did do a guest reveal, but I probably expected at least year three, if not year four, or not year two. I was like year three, year four. Then I can see seeing guest characters coming in. But I think for me, because it's the fact that there's not many, the roster is not as big like the Street Fighter Five was initially. So the thing is that it's kind of weird, but at the same time, it's not. It's just that I wish that we had more of the in the universe or fitting more catering to the actual universe to come through first, and then the guest characters. But granted, in the interview, Capcom and SNK have been discussing ideas, and so it's ever since Evo 2022, I think, when they started bringing back Evo in person and stuff, and they had the idea of collaborating of a sort. People speculating to see eventually Capcom versus SK3. So that's not bad. That's cool that they are, and I think they probably wanted to try to add early like Terry Mai to give that maybe potential indication like and reception like, hey, oh snap, SNK's in Street Fighter now, so look like we might be getting Street Fighter going Capcom versus SK3. I think part of that is leading to that because like they do that to attract other people outside of the scene and so forth. And right now we're in an era where crossovers are very common. You know, even way
Mm-hmm.
before back,
Mm-hmm.
like even after the Marvel series and stuff in general. And now you had like the 2010s, yeah, Street Fighter Cross Tekken with Cole from Infamous. Of course, like Tekken 3 had gone from a manga. You had, but then that big time, like I said, the 2018, you had, of course, BB Tag, um, Melty Blood having Fate Stay Night, Saber, like all this stuff. They're now doing more earlier because I think they're trying to attract more people outside of the core group that supports, for the in universe whatever, or non third party or whatnot. They're trying to do as maybe as early now as possible to get much attraction, attention, and people want to buy the game more rather than do them later. Yeah, because like when you add guest characters maybe later, they probably think that people are not going to be as interested or so forth, and they want to get the initial, you know, while we got people excited for the game, let's go ahead and throw these all people out now. So a lot of people, so we can have a lot of big, profit or like attraction here and there. But oh no, um, I'm okay with it. But I think I wish they could have been season 3 or 4. That's all. I know I went around the whole thing, but yeah.
Hmm. Okay. All right. What about you, buddy?
Um, I'm honestly a big believer in I hold almost no nostalgic value. So I'm a big believer of just putting in absolutely brand new characters in every game. I think they did a great job of it when they did Third Strike. I think they did a good job of it even here in Street Fighter 6. But I would say that, I think that's my biggest, I don't have any issues with guest characters coming. I suppose I think I still have the same issues that I do with returning characters coming into a fighting game, which is that like
Hmm.
everyone goes into that game
Hmm.
now
Okay.
with the presupposition of what that character should be. You know what I mean? Like, all
Hmm.
right, for instance, they put in, I don't know, Blanca in a game or a Street Fighter. It's like, all right, well, all the old school Blanca players are going to only, I feel, be disappointed because it's not going to be the Blanca they remember from the old game. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Right.
well, why don't they have this or this move or why can't they do this anymore? And I feel like I don't know, just like kind of seeing it a little bit through the lens of both the player and the developer. It's like I prefer if they have a complete fresh slate that no one has an expectation on, because then the developers are more like they're given more freedom to create different types of characters without fear of people being like, well, why don't they have this or that? You know what I mean? And as a player, it's also more fun because then you get to also be able to go, oh, this is interesting. Like I've never really worked with this type of mechanic. Maybe they were scared to play as a charge character because they never played a charge character before, but this character maybe he's a hybrid and they like it. Or maybe this person's a zoner and they never really played zoners, but they have a mix of it, so they like that as well. You know what I mean? So I'm a big believer of, just like, a few classics are fine, but I honestly I would have preferred if Street Fighter 6 had like 50% or more of new characters, which I think it has. Like, how many new characters does it have? It's got like, I want to say 30%, maybe 40%. I don't know, somewhere in that ballpark.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think for me, what I would have liked to see in the season update is just more new characters, characters that we've never seen before, characters,
Mm-hmm.
just yeah, with interesting mechanics or interesting ways of approaching the game. Because ultimately, I think what I would want in any fighting game is for any play style to feel relevant, right? Whether there's someone out there who prefers playing more control or aggressive or hybrid or, setup or whatever. You know what I mean? I think the more opportunities you give players to be able to express themselves creatively in a fighting game, the greater the scope of like mind games and gameplay happens. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I feel like if like for characters like you mentioned, like banking from nostalgia, right? Like
Right,
you could take I'll just give an example. Like Ken's son, Mel, right? They put
right,
Mel, say they say they announced Mel for season 3,
Hmm.
right.
and he literally has he's literally kind of like a carbon paste Ken, except he got a few changes for like some of his normals, and he has like a new special or something. But for the most part, he plays very similar to Ken, right? He's
Right.
I'm my father's son, type of deal. But at the same time, people are like, oh, this is a waste of a character slot. This is a waste
Right.
of a character slot. This is just Ken. This is just a smaller version of Ken, right?
Right.
They'll say something like that, or I think the risk of creating new characters is that you put a brand new character in there, it's not going to fit the archetype of what was done in the past. Because a lot of players nowadays, especially for older players, they're used to fighting that same matchup, but just like in a different engine. So if you're gonna put Blanca in Street Fighter 7, you got to make sure he plays. You got to make sure he plays the exact same, or it's not going to be Blanca. Or you got to make sure this character plays the exact same, or it's not going to be this character. Something like that. So like Street Fighter 6, for this season pass, they're doing 2 Fatal Fury characters, right? Or 4 characters for a year. Mortal Kombat 1, man, they're doing what 6 was it 3
Yeah,
special characters,
yeah,
special
three
guests,
guests,
and
three returning
yeah,
characters in this one.
okay. Oh boy. So not gonna lie, they could have just brought back Joker for the 10th time, and no one would be surprised. Um, people weren't too hype. From what I was seeing, the reactions weren't like, "Oh man, what is this? Who is this characters? This is a boomer game right now, and putting all these old characters in that nobody's ever heard of, and stuff like that. Nobody born past 2005 is gonna know who the hell this character is, and stuff like that. And like MK1's Pass, which is a game which is a game with a rich variety of different characters that got 3 out of his 6 for his pass are special guests. I mean, I don't know, maybe the end goal is to create like a multiverses type game with horror movie characters only. Like they've had a ridiculous amount of horror franchise characters in game like Freddy, Jason, Leatherface, Alien, Terminator, 1000, Kratos. I'm like, well, Kratos is not a horror movie, but those characters, right? I don't mind a guest character or two because I know going forward more fighting games are going to have them. But it should not be the main focal point, I would say, of advertising a game. Like, I'm just gonna say, yo, I'm about to be the best Ghostface player on the East Coast.
That
Like,
might
that
be
sounds
me.
wild. What Capcom did, like, I like what Capcom did, right? Because they what they did was they connected the story, Final Fight and Rival Schools to Street Fighter, made it canon to their universe, and involved the stories around them. Now, that, my friend, that is how you do guest characters, right? Drive got its first guest character, with what, Lucy from Cyberpunk as
Yeah,
one of the
Lucy.
characters for
Yeah, good to go.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then how many people you think may have said, "Oh, why it should have been Jam or it should have been Cliff or something like that." I'm just saying, like, let the guest character fit the universe that they're fighting in, right? MK, I would say, is like an easy cop out because I feel like all you gotta do is open a portal and boom, you in the MK universe. Like it's like Rick from Rick and Morty could be a comeback character for the season 3 pass. Like, or they could do like a Dead by Daylight character, like the Trapper would have been a cool character, like something that kind of relates to that universe. But I just think that if you're gonna do that, and that's just my thoughts, like if you're gonna do guest characters, at least make them fit, like kind of relate to the story in some way, so that way it can be relative to what's going on with the gameplay. So that's all I thought. My thought is on the guest characters and fighting games.
Yeah,
To the next topic, what you guys got, yeah?
yeah.
What you guys think?
Cause like we Akuma, for example, in Tekken, a lot of people were like, "What?" And I remember, and then they tried to include him in the story, which was like, it, like it, for me
Oh,
that was Akuma. Well, the thing, granted, I know they like tried to do the idea of the Tekken Cross Street Fighter because that unfortunately was not going to come to fruition. But I mean, I applaud them for giving the shot, and then of course they added Geese and so like that. It can, like I said, the thing is, for the most part, they had characters in already. They had plenty of characters already set and established, mainly for the Tekken. But then Akuma was actually not actually a DLC character. He actually was just a starting roster, well, at least for the console version, if not the arcade. But definitely, which was actually, like I said, wow. But then you had Negan from Walking Dead, which was still one of my favorite characters for sure. I love that character. But I can understand from the point of view of the players who don't like that type of stuff. Like, and it's like, for me, that was like the most bizarre thing. Like, who would ever think about a comic book character from a TV show, actually, in a sense, a TV show adaptation to be featured in Tekken? But it's weird to think about it, because the thing is, the concept of crossovers has been a thing for many, many, many years. And I said back in the '90s and so forth, and of course the Marvel vs. Capcom was an example, in many cases, and then we have other fighting games. But I think the issue is, I think people are now we're the generation. We were the generation before that said, "Oh man, if Goku can fight against Superman in this fighting game, that'd be crazy, man. You crazy? They're never gonna happen." Those dreams and stuff were coming true, and now it's
And
like
it actually happened.
right, and those type of things. Now the thing is, in many cases, you say, "Man, if Akuma can fight Kazuya, man, Akuma, he's a better demon thing than Kazuya. He would never beat him. That's never gonna happen, man. That would be stupid. You crazy for that." And that's like probably we was in elementary school, middle school, talking about it, and then Tekken 7 comes out, boom, and like, oh my gosh, Akuma. But then we're at the point where once we play games that's used to having these type of characters established for a certain setting in a certain way and whatnot, and the story and whatnot, we're used to that. And so when we see that guest character come through, it's like, what are you doing here? Like, why are you here? You don't make sense. But at the same time, I feel the same way with Buddy about some returning characters. I don't like the fact of Hachi and Bison coming back, but I can understand and a point why, because they are in a sense too iconic to not just throw them away. But the idea of for Street Fighter 6 particularly, new generation is like literally. But then, granted, majority of the Street Fighter 2 cast is back, so it wouldn't be too surprising. But I don't know. But the thing is that
Selling them as a guest pass though, like selling them on a guest pass, selling the older characters on a guest pass.
And Street Fighter 5,
I don't know.
Yeah, now Street Fighter 5 is weird as well too, because Guile was a DLC character. That was
right. That's weird. That's weird. That is very weird.
Guile and Honda being DLC characters. I can see Alex, for example, because that's a character you haven't seen in a while back. But it's just that yeah, like I can see Third Strike characters from at the time being like there we go, sorry. Yeah, being I can see Third Strike characters and stuff at the time, Street Fighter 5 being get DLC maybe, because it seems to have seen them a long time, and you can like tease them and so forth and whatnot. But characters that have been a long stay, a staple in a sense, to come back as a guest character, like Sagat, for the sake of Chris, FGC Chris, it was Sagat coming back later on. I mean, okay, in some cases it may make sense if you want to have a new generation of characters, and if you're making a new setting, new story, and then you say, hey, well, it's like maybe like 3-4 seasons in, and then he's like, you know what? Well, I'm the student of Sagat or whatever this character is, or Lily. Perfect example. Basically played like T-Hawk. Would T-Hawk be a fitting thing to bring back? Would be ideas to bring back, because she plays pretty much like him and with more unique tools, and to have him to come back it'll probably be like irrelevant. or redundant.
Right.
I feel like it's kind of hard to come up with something new when you could
It
just
is.
take something that's old and just repaint it and give it a new name,
Yeah.
right? Like you just mentioned Mint Lily being pretty much a clone of T-Hawk, which a majority of his kit is what she has, while incorporating like a new mechanic for her offense, right?
Mm.
I feel like if you did that with other characters, I think people would just be even more mad. Like if instead of just having the actual character, you have someone that plays exactly like them with their moveset.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the actual character. So it's like if
Yeah.
they do if they do the next one or another pass, they'll put in a character that let's say for example fights exactly like Marissa or fights exactly like Jamie or something, but they get a different name or something like that. And I understand that can be a thing. That's a thing in fighting games too, where they take a character with a similar move set, they add one or two moves, slap on a new name, new clothes or something, and then it's like, hey, this is a brand new character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's kind of been a thing too as well. So it's kind of I don't know. I feel like almost every archetype has been done, like fighting
Yeah.
game wise,
Now,
maybe.
yeah. I mean, because the thing is, so Jamie's example because he's Yunier's cousin, but if Unier came back, that's fine because they don't play that similar, like in a sense, because like Jamie's a breakdancer, drunken boxer like character. He's not don't have the same kung fu style. He has that similar ish uppercut, but performs it much differently. And he has a little Rekka, but it's much more differently. So having that and then having someone like Yoon or Yang coming back would be perfectly fine, as example. But having like T Hawk and Lily be in the same room is going to be it'll be weird because they made Lily pretty much take over from T Hawk, which I'm perfectly fine. So and that's the thing, like it's the idea of wanting to have something new but keep it the same at the same time, and that's really a always a interesting contradiction dynamic that always happens. You know, people want something new, but they want to make it feel the same at the same time. We like a new game, but make it feel like we played it before, or we, I would still do that one frame link combo from before, with all these tools, with the charge features. You know, it's not really impossible to do that because I feel like it won't be a new sequel, a new game in a sense. It's just Street Fighter Six would be like Street Fighter Five or Street Fighter 4.2 rather than Street
Its
Fighter being Street
own
Fighter Six.
unique thing. Yeah, I mean, I do respect the idea of them trying something new. Like, with each title, each iteration, they might add in new mechanics for the game to actually represent that particular game. And with Street Fighter Six, it was none to the exception, where a lot of people just weren't a fan of the drive rush mechanic or just the meter mechanics in general. But for the most part, it overall it still has the feel of being a Street Fighter game. It's just that with these mechanics, it kind of transforms it into something different than what we are not used to playing. Like, for example, if you take someone who's been playing Third Strike for 20 years and tell them to play Street Fighter 6 for a month, what do you think's gonna happen? What do you think is gonna happen? It's a brand new engine, so it's going to take longer for them to get used to playing on that particular game though. But I think that's just in general how it goes with every new title, especially with like character designs. So with the character designs, they kind of have to complement whatever the game they have that follows up with it. But yeah, that's just kind of my take uh, on that right now. Before we move on, the next topic here, outside of that, let me see here. So we got advice for growing and starting a scene in your area. So we talked about this a little bit earlier, buddy, um, with advice like how to get players to come in the scene, how to get people more involved into the scene. You've listed a variety of things you've done for your community as well as Retro's done for his area too as well. I would say as far as like consistency and dedication are being the key, making sure your scene eats. Like there are venues in people's states right now that people wish that they had for a spot to play at. I would say don't take your scene for granted because nothing lasts forever. Play as much as you can and as time allows because you want to have regrets later on and be like, dang, I should have did all of this when that building was open or that venue was open. People get older, so interests and priorities change. Instead of wanting to fish for counter hits, you want to go out and fish for real life, or you be, or vice versa. So, if you stream a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, advertise it. Create an account on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, etc. There are a lot of different avenues where you can get your event out there and just network with other people to try to promote and make sure people, hey, this is an event that happens in this state. Do you know? Let me ask you this, buddy. Do you know how many people who probably have tuned in 4-4 and didn't know that the 4-4 venue was like 10 minutes away from them,
You
just
know,
from watching Street Fighter 6?
we have had so many scenarios where people who live less than 30 minutes away from the venue are like, "Wow, I had no idea this existed." Um, and I'll be honest. I think there's a lot of reasons that can happen, but certainly one of the biggest ones is that I think not enough promotion gets out from the people who are hosting their own events to get out to the people who are maybe looking for them or just don't know how to find them.
Hmm.
Um,
Social media being the biggest factor, word of mouth being the biggest factor.
yeah,
Oddly enough, I think that one of the oddest things you well, not I wouldn't call it odd, but I've seen someone put posters up in a workplace.
yeah, that's
Put posters
great.
up on a board and say, "Hey, there's this tournament going on here, here, and there," and they actually they look at the poster or they take a picture of the poster and be like, "Oh, okay, I'll check this place out." And then they go there and you see your coworker there at the event, and it's like, "Yo, yo, what's going on?" And then, "Yo, let's play," stuff like that.
Right.
You just never know. You just never know who in the area plays the game, and it's so wild how interesting you can meet so many different people. For example, someone was at the gym wearing a Street Fighter shirt. Was it either Street Fighter 4? Yeah, I think it was a Street Fighter 4 shirt. I was like, Street Fighter 4? Wait a minute. Does he play? Does this person play? Let me go ask her real quick. Say, hey man, I like your shirt. Man. You play Street Fighter? Yeah, I'm a such and such player. Master rank or such and such out A rank player. And I'm like, where? Oh, what's your tag? Oh, I'm on this. See? You see how that happens? You just never know
Right.
who is a player out there. And there's so many players out there right now to this day that currently live in the state of Georgia or whichever state you guys are listening to. There are people in the state that don't know about the scene. That they don't
Right.
know that the scene exists.
Yeah,
And it's like,
absolutely.
how do you get to those people? How do we inform those people?
Yeah.
That's hard. That's a hard question, honestly.
Yeah. Well,
Let
I think it.
you, mhm.
I'm sorry.
No, go
Uh,
ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think there's so many layers to that answer, right? There isn't like one cover-all answer. Otherwise, I think many of the communities would have figured it out by now.
Mhm,
I think that there's, to start with your credit about like not taking advantage of your scenes, right? I think the first part of pretty much almost every community is realizing that every single fighting game community is run on the backs of just a few people who are extremely passionate about their game, about their community, and they want to provide something for them to be special, right? It's
mhm,
the exact same thing that Sir Retro does. It's the same thing that I do for my community. It's the same thing that the owners of 404, of Data FTC, of Zone Breakers, they all do the same, right?
mhm,
We are all out here trying to create what something special that we probably had the experience of or maybe didn't have and wanted to create up for ourselves. And so,
mhm,
I think there's that starting point, right? Which is great that we have people like that, but it also means that if and when those people ever do move on with their lives or whatever, there's no one to really take the mantle. And I think there's
Mm,
many elements to community creation and retention, but one of them is absolutely raising leaders, right? Are not
mm,
if you are not regularly putting people in points of authority to say, hey, we're going to run this thing and I want you to host it, or hey, we're going to do this event and I want you to run the bracket, or hey, we're going to do this event, I want you to stream it or commentate or whatever, right? If you are not regularly organizing those points of authority to people, delegating those tasks, right? It just means that whoever's at the top running everything, when they burn out, everything falls because no one's been
mm.
trained. No one knows how to pick up the pieces. And then it's just wait until some other person who's really passionate basically has to figure out the building blocks themselves all over again, right? So I think
Wow.
that's one piece, right? That's one
Mhm,
piece of it. In terms of
mhm,
outreach, right? There's a million reasons, right? I mean, you
mhm,
could say, okay, fine, maybe there's not enough SEO happening for people who search for these types of games, or maybe there aren't enough promotion from the people who have this out to their social media, or maybe there's just not enough word of mouth. Whatever. There's a million reasons in marketing of why something might be unknown or known. Um, but I think
mhm.
that something that is important um, is that you constantly make the focus of the community about the people and not the progress, right? I know that we play games, fighting games are inherently competitive, and of course, everyone wants to get better, but those things are sort of baked into the game itself. You don't really have to strive, I don't think, to make people want to improve. It's sort of inherent to anyone who plays any fighting game long term. I think that if you're talking about community and not competition, the community has to be the focus, right? Which means that, when you're running events, like, myself, Retro, other people, right? When you run things like watch parties, no one in that room is competing. We're all there to bond, to socialize, right? That is
Mhm,
putting the community at the front end, not the back end, right?
mm,
Or when,
mhm.
you host training sessions, right? Any of the people who coach could just be taking their time to go and improve themselves because they're already strong, right? They don't
Right,
necessarily need to waste their time to improve someone else's, but they do it because they care about the people, right?
right.
So I think that I'm a big believer of, as you would want, and it will kind of come to its own fruition, right? As a result, I feel like of my own success here, in Atlanta, I still feel very much like I'm the new kid on the block. I was only here 3 years ago, and to be honest, I really wasn't a part of the scene until Street Fighter 6 dropped, right? About what are we at, a year now? I want to say.
Mhm, mhm,
Um, so like I've done everything I can to try to get the awareness, just as someone who just had
Mhm.
zero information to go off of. I've tried to do my best to try to connect the communities that I was able to learn about and build from there. But even for me, it's like there are so many players that I've had the privilege of being able to train, to coach, and to like help them also run their own events. So I feel that one of the best parts of a community is it is what you make it about. If you focus entirely on just the competition, not saying that competition is bad, but just if it's only about competition, that means eventually you're only going to have a very, very small group of really high skilled players that only play each other. And you're not going to have new blood,
Wow.
and you're not going to have people
Yep.
who
Mhm.
care to train and to grow, right? So, I come from, like I said, Bay Area, North Bay. We had a number of communities who died and never came back. And so I'm extremely aware of what qualities and what sort of prognoses happen to a community to help it build or make it die. Um, and there's a lot of ways that a community can die. Um, but there's also a lot of ways you can make it live. And so I think looking at the aspects of that and realizing that like yeah, you can't just do it all yourself. You need help, and everyone has to pitch in a little bit, and the community will be self-sustaining in that form.
Wow, that was a really, really strong point you made there, man. Just to co-sign on several of that instances. You just mentioned that it only leaves you with a small group of players who are only competitive amongst themselves only
Right.
within their scene. So essentially, they just show up for the paycheck and then go home because it'd be the same group of players who are constantly in that spotlight, who don't
Right.
communicate with the scene, who don't interact with the scene that much, or may have just one person they talk to and then just go about their business.
Right.
Unfortunately, that is the case in certain areas, but it doesn't have to be. It just takes certain individuals who are willing to reach out, willing to try to talk, and try to get to understand and better know the players, what they want out of the scene. Otherwise it's just looking like a free. It'll just look like a check to them. They just show up for the money and they just leave. No growth within the scene. They don't care about the competition. That they know that they're strong, so they know that every time they show up to the event, they're guaranteeing themselves a check. Right. So
Right.
that's why that I always say it's a difference between people who play for the passion and people who play for the money.
Which
It's the
like
difference. Mhm.
is ironic, hilariously so to me because no offense to any fighting game community, but like if you were trying to play any esport to make money, this is the worst community to do it. We are broke. Like we do not make that much money compared to almost any first person shooter, any lane fighter, you know what I mean? Like if your goal was
Mhm.
like I want to play video games and make money, this is probably the worst community to do it in because there's like yeah, we just had our $1 million in the last one and there's going to be a big one in the Middle East coming up soon. But historically, and even still, like at Evo, like Punk won less than $30,000, I think, for winning Evo against I don't know how many. What was it, 5,000 entrants or something like that? Which,
Yeah,
like,
over
again,
$5,000.
I'm not even attacking Evo. Nothing about them, but just like if you're doing it for the money, the amount of time, effort, and you know what I mean, that you have to put in, I feel does not match the monetary outcome. So I feel like ironically, it's a poor choice to do it for money to begin with because it's not really that much there. And secondly,
Exactly.
even if you compete, let's say you just trying to take money from your locals or whatever, like
Mhm.
eventually you're kind of screwing yourself over because if you never train the people below you, even if you are better than the players that you beat and you don't actively try to help them get better, you're actually screwing yourself over because that means you always think you're training your brain and your fighting style to win against players weaker than you rather than training players to be stronger than you and then give you an adversity to overcome, which is the constant level of actual high tier players. Um, and then second, and then thirdly,
That's
like on top of that, like even if you did do that, you're eventually gonna just have like two guys or three guys to compete. Then what do you win if you win that tournament? $20? You know what I mean? Like come on. Like what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like it's even if you were doing it for selfish reasons, you're actually still screwing yourself over in the grand scheme and pretty much every category.
yeah.
You're not getting stronger, you're
Gate
not making money. Like
Mhm.
you know?
Gatekeeping
Yeah.
tech for $30 is crazy.
Yeah, it really is, man. It really like it just does
For
not make any
$30 is
sense. It
crazy.
like
It
you
doesn't
really
make
gonna waste a whole weekend and like gas money. You don't even make the gas money back. You know what I mean? Like what are you doing?
no. It was
Like
cost $15 to get up there. Yo, you
yeah,
got my
yeah,
food.
yeah, you all you did was waste time and say I'm the greatest
Right.
in this tiny little corner. You're like, okay, all right, man. I guess if that's what you
The
want.
it's definitely levels to it,
If
but
that's what
holy
gives you joy,
crap.
I mean, sure, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly what that to see that could be that's definitely one of the reasons why a lot of scenes don't really maintain as long is because of that
Right,
particular reason where you kind of have like the strongest in the pool or the shark, the main shark doesn't want to try to train or help against his local community or decline sets or decline matches. But hey man, let's run a first to five. Uh what? Why? Oh, why not? Nah, I'm good. I'm like,
right,
bro, then you got the mindset people who don't play before tournament. There's that too as well. It's like it's a whole bunch of interesting stuff where people
right,
they just don't want to get figured out and they don't want to lose their meal ticket. So,
right.
but it's not really a meal ticket because you only competing for what $20. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. It
oh, that's
really don't
crazy.
make sense.
Oh man.
I've heard that argument so many times where people are like, whatever, money match me or whatever. Like, bro, come on. Like, you're making. Let's be realistic. Let's say you even win a money match. Like, you're making what a day's worth of work in money, maybe at best. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is not like
Right.
that's why I
It's
don't
not worth
understand.
it.
Like, like until the day, and I do hope, I caveat this by saying, like, I do hope a day comes when players are able to financially support themselves just from playing the game the way other esports players are. Like, I
Mhm.
do hope that happens, but realistically, at least from what I've seen, chat quote me if I'm wrong or whatever, but like I only see less than maybe 50 to 100 players around the world who are able to do that in fighting games. I don't see that
Mhm.
as the landscape of the entirety of the FGC, at least not right now.
Right. It's just the money. Money.
Right?
It's just the money thing.
Mhm.
But yeah. But like as far as like trying to like advertise, circle back to that where I get back to the like I was thinking about different ways of how people did it just to promote the venues and things like that. And I think Greg was one of the only ones back in the day when he was working with 404. What he did was unique. He would like go around with the camera, to walk through the venue before like almost every
Right,
time there was a tournament. Looking at the players and stuff. Even if it's to the same 10 people that tune in regularly. I feel like yeah, you just have to put in the work. You talk to the people at the venues, see if they know if they have a friend or someone who wants to play or watch, or bring that friend with them. Get to know the players. Like Retro, I think we talked about this like in the past
Mhm.
where I asked, do the players know their TOs or the owners of the venue? And one of our guests that we had on the episode, they said no. I said, huh? Well, I guess they show up, they pay their venue fee, they play, and then they leave. But talking with them and seeing how improvements can be made, it can make for a better turnout. Believe for sure because it feels like you're a community. It feels like you're actually involved and wanting to see that particular person do well. But for someone who just shows up, plays, and then just leaves, it just eventually it'll get boring to them because it's like, all right, do I want to travel to this tournament? Oh, I lost. I went 0-2. Not wondering why I went 0-2, or they're not asking their opponent, what could I have done in that situation, or how do I get better? Like, how do I improve? Not asking those questions. They're just leaving and just showing up next time. So is things like that can definitely help improve the scene a lot of way. Here, of course, post pot bonuses. When anyone sees the word pot bonus, oh god, here comes
right.
such out of the mountains, out of the cave, out of the goon cave. Well, no, I guess they such and such comes out of the the mountains to come down to
Right,
play that one time out of 6 months. Money
right,
does make people move, but I know it's a lot, and there are more variables to it, and that could be a topic for another day. But
right,
I just say as POs, you guys are doing an excellent job. I don't think no one has to tell you otherwise that you guys are doing a great job. You guys are pillars of your community. You're making sure that your players are taken care of, and you're making sure your players are getting better with various resources and tools. So shout out to you guys. Not everybody's willing to do that, but you guys are. So I appreciate that, man.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. Yeah, and
Thank
I
you.
think it takes all types. Everyone contributes in their own ways. It's not like one person is better than the other. I think we all make it happen together.
Hey, man. Can't spell community without unity, man. There it is.
Yeah, that's right.
You know. So somebody said, a great person once told me that support what you claim you love. Ain't that right? Support what you claim to love. Who who,
Oh.
That's
who
right.
said that? Who said that? Retro, did you say that?
Yeah. That's my
Yeah,
forever be my word. Support what you claim to love.
it is, man. Got to, got to. It's the only way. But we're gonna move on to the got two more topics to handle. Then we just open up the floor here, if any guys got anything else you want to talk about. Um, so what's your definition of a real tournament? Like when I say real tournament, I would say like if I had to say quote unquote a real tournament, maybe like 40 plus interest, maybe a pot bonus sponsored by yada yada. How do some people like downplay communities events because of the size of said events? Like for example, take a local 12 interest, right? and compare it to a local that has like 35 entrants. Which one do you think will get more respect as far as like viewers and people amongst the players? Anyone can answer? Anyone of y'all
I
can answer. Go
I
ahead.
do you mind if I go first, Retro?
Go for it.
You know, I'm a big believer of like, of course I'm coming from a community mindset here, but like if you're talking about like if you're valuing a tournament exclusively based off of like finances, then sure, the number of players coming is going to add to the pot, which usually means more money to be had to win, right? Sure, that can be seen as, I guess, real. But I would also say that, something I think about a lot is Yipes. You did I think, what is it? And it was a Marvel versus Capcom 2 tournament
Oh,
that
Battle of the
all
Strongest.
yeah, yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there was less than like 20 people in that entire tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But it was literally just to show like long sets of players to like basically prove to each other where they rank amongst themselves. And and as someone who was watching that happen, that was just so hype. Like it didn't, to me as a viewer, spectator, I wasn't even playing in the game. It felt like I was so much more part of that tournament because of how well, Yipes and that whole production crew put it together, because of how authentic it felt. Everyone was talking to each other, engaging with each other. You felt like you were in the crowd with them. Um, I think that engagement is going to be always so much more valuable to anyone than numbers, right? If you walk into a room and there's like 100 people in the room, you're like, oh, crazy, this thing is so huge. Wow, that's great. But if you didn't talk to anybody, you didn't get to share watching a match with somebody, you didn't get to have someone there to like, you know what I mean? Engage with you. Like, was that a memorable tournament for you? You know what I mean? Maybe it was a real tournament for the person who won it, and that's fine. But the thing about tournaments is only one person wins it. All the other people experience it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I look at the larger number of everyone who's experiencing it rather than just the person who's winning it. So for me, what makes it real is, is it memorable? That's it.
Hmm. And you said it was memorable for the person who won it.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if it exists, merits of like who's the best players in the scene will always be a thing. And I think that just stems from natural competitive nature because you want to be the best, right?
Right.
You
Of
to
course.
prove that all that lab work and training wasn't for nothing, Like what I have a problem with is people who downplay and say, well, XXXX wasn't there. And if they were there, they would have won. And I'm like, well, why didn't you
Right.
show up then?
Right.
Why didn't you
Yeah.
show up? You should, if you was there, you could have won. Like what
That's a
like
weak
what are we
argument.
talking about?
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Also, like the assumption that like top players just like on a dime will go to any tournament is so crazy. Like that's so like, could you imagine if this was the NBA and then like they're like, man, we had the finals, but Jordan wasn't there, and it's like, yeah, Jordan do another thing or whatever. I don't know. Like what, you know, like
No,
you,
it's
you can't
always
just
gonna
start
be a thing,
comparing
man.
things it's like, come on, man.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I think
It's just a lack of respect. That's all.
those comparison statements are just thieves of joy. You know what I mean? It's like if everyone in
Mhm.
that room had a great time, if everyone in there thought the matches were fun, if everyone in there was getting hype, like you did a real tournament in my brain. I don't care if it was online, offline, whatever. If people experienced it, had a great time, and felt closer to like their own game or the people in their community, like at least for me, check marks and success all around.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, we gotta. I mean, I think that's definitely one of the factors where it's like if you if you have if you have a group of players who and there's always that person that's always winning and they may help out their scene or whatever and you got someone in the background be like, oh man, if this person showed up, they wouldn't have won that, stuff like that. I think things like that will always exist too as well, where people just I've seen it happen too many times, and it's exhausting every time I see it. Well, why
Mhm.
did this person win? You should. This person's not that good. They shouldn't have won.
Right.
Like, oh, God, it's. I don't really like being around people like that, so I kind of just distance myself from
That's
them.
good. You should
You know,
sever
yeah,
those connections.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's why it's just
yeah. You let all that
terrible,
bullshit
man.
go to the background, man. Yeah, no.
Yeah, y'all can keep. I was like, yeah, they can keep that. I don't want to deal with that. So eventually, I just separated myself from that type of environment, and then I was like, all right, I only want to see production. I want to see growth. I want to see these players do well. I want to see these players compete. This is what I tune in for. And that's what's going to keep me as a viewer to come back and just keep watching the event. Is those players like, oh, who's going to take it this week? Last week it was this close. They were this, and I want to see who's going to come back this week to win. You know, stuff like that. That's what gets me
Right.
motivated to keep watching an event. Is the players that are keeping a healthy scene together by doing that. You know, they're in the background. Everyone's having a good time. They're laughing. You know, they're making jokes. You know, people they enjoying their company. You know, they're interacting and they're socializing. That's what I like to see. That's what
Right.
I consider a real team. That is my definition of a real tournament. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's
Let's go.
go.
That's my definition of a real tournament. So y'all can keep that because X and X person didn't show up, they would have won. Y'all can keep that shit. Y'all can hold that.
Yeah.
You know, that's toxic. Yeah, just keep that toxic behavior back there, yo. We're just
Yeah.
gonna keep doing our thing over here, yo. There it is.
You
Had
know,
to let the people know, man.
something I also always think about around that stuff is like it's so easy to choose an extreme when you are a fighting game player, right? The constant battle of I'm the worst or I'm the best, depending on the situation, depending on your wins or losses. And I feel like that's such a take of like cynicism that doesn't help anything. You know what I mean? It's like why be comparative? It's like, yeah, well, Zhao Hai might have beat Punk if XYZ, and you're like, who cares? Like this is what happened, and we saw it in this event. And also, like something I think about that maybe I don't know, maybe other people don't necessarily agree, but I'm a big believer of like life in general, dude. It's just you gotta enjoy it. Like for instance, like Hayao did not win Street Fighter 3 Third Strike at Evo this year, but I would argue he is easily the most memorable of that entire tournament. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I think seeing someone's passion, seeing someone's love of the game, their joy of everything, that that is just as equally, if not more, exciting than so and so won a tournament. You know what I mean? I think that you got to enrich every element of it. And if so and so, wasn't at your tournament or whatever, who cares? Like, enjoy the things you enjoy, man. You know?
Exactly, man. Exactly. I just don't want to hear. I don't want to see the downplay crap, man. I know it's
Yeah,
gonna happen. I know it is. I mean, people had their. I guess they're entitled. I mean, they are entitled to their own opinions and views. But just know that I won't be involved in it, or I won't be
right,
near it
right.
to try to
Yeah.
enable that. Yeah. So you can just keep that. If somebody say Buddy shouldn't have won this tournament, then
They were
yo, why
right.
don't
No,
you
I'm
show
just
up
kidding.
and stop him? Why why you show up to Buddy and stop him then? If he shouldn't have won that tournament, that means that if you showed up, you would have won. There it is,
Right.
it is. That's the only thing I gotta say. Just talk about it. Don't talk about it. Be about it. Yo, if you don't like that this person is winning, you show up and then you stop them. You're not
Yeah.
gonna show up. You're just gonna sit in the
Yeah.
background and keep
Of
talking.
course. Yeah. 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 I mean, it's the same as anything. Anyone can be a critic. Very few can be a competitor.
Now say it one more time. Say it one more time.
Said anyone can be a critic, but very few can be a competitor.
It is. Let's go.
Hey,
Anyone can be the critic. But not many can be a competitor. There it is, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen. Take that home with you. Write that down. But yeah, before we move on to the next topic, Retro, you got anything on it? Are we good to go to the next topic?
no, I pretty much nailed it on the head. I mean, for me, like I said, a tournament, what I define as a tournament, like I said, it could be as low as 4 people for entry. It can be, maybe 3 or so. But if everyone's there, just vibing, having a good time, like to, encourage each other in their place, encourage each other's play, getting hype, even like not that many people just getting together, play games, having fun in the competition, trying their best in the process too. But just that's pretty much a tournament for me, and that's pretty much what, like I said, it makes you want to stay. And they're approachable to newcomers, to anyone outside or inside in the community that's interested, just want to see what's going on, or want to learn the game. If their members are approachable to those people, that's pretty much an A+ for me. In addition to everything else, what a tournament for me is. I mean, I can tell you the main, like, if I can go by, if we were to, in a sense, go by which community or tournament that would be would fit the criteria to have $1,000 of pot bonus, 20 of the best players in the world in their little venue, or having the optimal setup of PCs and all the great resources and all that stuff, the production, the commentators, and all that stuff. Reboot won't exist, won't be part of that, won't be disqualified. Many other communities will be qualified or be done with. But the fact that Reboot is still here for 7 years over many of those organizations that actually did all that, invested thousands of dollars, having the best of the best to be there, having the all the high level production, and all the resources and so forth, and backed by this company, that company, having all that type of stuff. Many of them you don't, like Betty said, was in some cases, where are they now? You don't see them anymore. You don't hear from them anymore. They've probably been like the new big thing for tournament stuff or gaming communities, but like, where's the heart? And
Right.
so that's basic for me. Is like, whereas with Reboot, I was just saying, for me, as for like our scene, we wouldn't been around if we had to meet those sort of qualifications to be considered a true tournament or a true community or true gaming whatever. So that's the thing, is that look at it now, is where many communities that don't have what they think supposed to be a real tournament, or a tournament supposed to actually have and very high standards. You look, those companies that did, and now they're gone. You like, look what happened, and then those remain that didn't have those type of stuff and may not still have it. Look like, well, how you been here for 10 years and that big company had $1,000 to put everything in there and had the best player in the world, blah blah blah. Well, you had to see what happened. You had to find out somehow, or you might figure out that they didn't have some type of communication. They didn't have some type of consistency. Didn't have any type of compassion, or like I said, support what you claim to love.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't
You had
support
to
it,
do it to him.
but
You had to do it to him.
I mean, yeah, like, there's consistency, there's compassion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so community, consistency, the connection, compassion. With all this means, within whatever, with, like, that's all the. A lot of times we do stuff without. I like to have events, but without the part of worrying about, oh yeah, they don't have the cool, everybody get together and so forth, but without the reaching to people and say, hey, let me help you train and get better. Hey, welcome to the community. You play so and so. All right, cool. Well, you're not that good. All right, that's cool. We'll train you. Or here's so forth. You can do that. You don't have a pop bonus. All right, that's cool. Well, we can just go with how much we have. Are you okay with that? Yeah, we're cool. Nope, you gotta have the money. You gotta have the high level. You gotta have this. You got whatever. Like, that's the thing. And once you lose sight of that, eventually, the interest of the interest will die down, and then, like Buddy said, many occasions, they be gone. So that's the thing. People forget, the core concept of what yeah, and like I said, you can't always focus on the just the competition aspect of it. It's like, it's beyond the community. It's a community. within one. You know, and it said there's people from various backgrounds, various ideas, various focuses, various skill sets that are coming together because they share the common thing of fighting games or gaming or whatever in general. If you don't respect others and lose the focus of others, that oh yeah, you can't afford to pay for this entry fee. Well, I'm sorry, you can't come to this tournament, or well, your skill set doesn't match mine, so you're not. So I'm not going to play you, or you're not sponsored by this company, or your name is not so and so. You're not sponsored, so you can't come through. Well, you don't know how to commentate, so we gonna put you to the side. You don't commentate. You're fine. Well, you don't know how to stream. Nah, you get that is not a community. That's definitely not a community at all.
Oh my
That's a
that's
company.
crazy.
That's a corporation.
That's a company, not a community. That's a company. Yo.
Do you
That's
know?
wild.
I mean, I know that's
Let
why
me
I
add
preach
on to
on it.
that. Let me add on to that real quick. I'm gonna
If I
say
can tell
this.
you of
I
how
know.
many companies and corporations I've seen that actually reach out to me about starting tournaments and stuff like that, I'll just say, okay, well, this is what you need, this, that, and third, whatever. I've seen literally and been in it. They have started and they have died right before my eyes. But I was
Putting
not
all the
surprised.
eggs in one basket. They looking at it as a profit. They want a profit over production.
Yep.
Want the people. They want to see them getting money. They're not getting money. They taking a ball and they going home. They gonna throw all the money out into the pot. They say, yo, let's make this. Let's host this Fighter Stick tournament. We're gonna do a 2K pot bonus. We're gonna fly in this player, this player, this player, this player. And
They want the
it's gonna give
technology,
us
but they
hundreds and
can't tech
hundreds of
this.
views. You know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna throw everything out and last for about a good mm, maybe 6 months or so. And then it's like, hey man, this is kind of bleeding our pockets dry. I think we out of here. And then they just disappear. Many companies have done that. They've came in, they didn't really care too much about the community. They just wanted people to show up to the venue to get people to come in. Like I don't know how many times I've walked into a venue where the person didn't even address me. They didn't even look at me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm here to sign up for the tournament. What's your name? Yeah, my name's ShadowAce. Okay. $15. Give them the
Right.
money. And that's it. That was the end of the conversation. Dang. Yo, how you doing? How was your day? How was the drive over here? You know what I'm saying? That's not too much to ask for, is it? Am I tripping?
Nope, it's not. I mean, like I said, that's it. Not the how you doing or anything. It just, and then you see people like, man, why that one person didn't come back? Well,
Mm,
there you
mm,
go. I mean, so that's just me, going to that almost preaching moment about that because I'm very passionate about the community in a sense. I'm gonna say that because I may try to have an imposter syndrome and downplay myself on it, and I know people call me the mayor of Macon, but I have to acknowledge the fact that for myself at least, why I get called that, and I think I can be confident in myself knowing that I have, at least on my end, personally done enough to help the community be a community, and I'm pretty much already confident and already know that Buddy yourself, you definitely that you're the personification as well too. And I say even for hell, even ShadowAce, I mean, the fact that you're still here to this day, still involved and doing a lot of stuff with the community, and you do a lot with with the hats that you wear. I mean, so like I said, all three of us, I definitely want to give you that confidence, not being boastful or prideful, just the confidence that hey, you're doing something that's helping the community be a community, and have a definition of what a real tournament or what considered to be a real tournament. A tournament's a tournament,
mm.
but if there's no community behind it, an actual community behind it, then it's just an event.
That that just goes to show you how many levels to it that there are about this entire FGC scene. It sounds so simple where people can just come in, play, fellowship, talk, play games and leave, but there's so many variables behind it. There's so many different things that go on behind the scenes and just involving the community in general that it can overall affect the health of the entire scene. So if you have a scene that has a local area or spot or a venue for people to play at, and you're wondering why the numbers aren't coming in like that, I look from within first. You gotta look from within, like, what's going on. Why can we not get the players? Why are people not coming in as often as such and such as this happened back then? We had more numbers back then, but what happened? What happened to the players? You got to talk to your team. You got to figure out what's going on. You got to, just communicate. I think communication is a big reason why a lot of teams kind of go under, because there just isn't none. People just look at it as a business aspect of, okay, this person signs up for the tournament, boom, that's it. They play the tournament and they leave. Like, if you can't tell me that, like, if you don't know the name of your TO and you've been playing and entering in events for over 6 months, shame on you, yeah. Shame on you, yeah. That's all I got to really say. Like, if
Right.
you can't tell me the name of this spot that you've been going to week in and week out, and you don't know the name of the person that runs the event, who's the, who's behind the team, that's sad to me. That's kind of sad to me. But again, this is just all just things for my perspective, how I would feel like as far as the team growing and being healthy. Communication is a big factor into that growth, that particular growth. You got to talk. You got to talk to people. You got to be a people person, man. I know some people aren't a people person, and that's fine. That's okay. You could. There's someone else. I guess if you could talk to them to see if they could help out or something. If you want the reason why such and such players aren't showing up, or why this isn't a real tournament because X and X person didn't show up within your own team, that's kind of crazy to me. That's kind of wild to be saying that, because that just hurts and hinders the growth even more, because now you're putting that message out there. That means you just don't respect that person as a player. That's another topic for another day. Let me stop. I'm
Right.
not. I was on. Let me. I don't want to. I don't want to go down that road. We're going to have to say that. We coming up on time. So, but yeah, that's just how I feel about that in general. So we're gonna move on to the next topic before we get up out of here. So thank you guys so much once again for tuning in to the live stream. Well, stay up to date by following the channel on this Sir underscore Retro '08 Twitch channel for the live stream. The archive for the video will be up a bit later on the YouTube channel for the season 4 premiere playlist with Buddy Like Friend here. So we're gonna dive into another topic, and then we're just gonna open the panel for anything you'd like to discuss, Buddy or Retro. So this last topic here is modern controls revisited again. Now this is an interesting topic, right? Because this is what I've heard from someone who maybe I was having a conversation with them, and he said this, and I quote: "Anyone who isn't new to fighters but using modern is a bit." And I said, "Wowzers, whoa, whoa!" Modern controls are a little spicy. As a modern user, I've heard numerous complaints about using it. I don't get the GGs, I don't get the handshake. At the end of the match. But I think I should put out there, because people may not like what I'm about to say, man. You just got to hold that respectfully. I feel like modern is balanced well. It's an optional control scheme. And I think more fighting games are actually going to adapt to that control scheme. Tekken 8 now has simpler controls. What was the Garo Marker the Wolves? They got smart style now. Like they have
Yeah.
smart style and Garo Marker the Wolves. So I know it isn't for everyone, but it's an option. It's a control option. Like me and Retro, we broke down modern mode in several different episodes, but I feel like we have to touch bases every now and then to see how people feel about it, because it is a vital part in analyzing the player base and how people can retain the information for growth. So, uh, Buddy, how do you feel about modern mode? Buddy,
So, buddy?
did we lose? Did we lose our friend? Did we
What?
lose Buddy?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello,
Yeah.
hello.
Okay, I can hear you. I can hear
All
you.
right, all right. Sorry. I guess my mic was not fully in. I guess I don't know. But yeah, no. I was saying I remember when Street Fighter 6 was about to be released. Do you guys
Mhm.
remember? And they had a showcase of how quick you could rematch. in a fight. Do you guys remember? Twitter like exploded because you could rematch too quickly. And this is like, for me, this feels like the same issue of like, this is like a non-issue addressed to the community because it only matters to the people, like tangentially, like I guess, maybe. Anything that you can do that you have an option to also engage with, like, I feel like it's like senseless complaining to me. I don't really believe in complaining. Fighting games are what they are. You either engage with them or you don't. You know what I mean? You accept it in
Mhm.
its totalness, or you just don't accept it. There's no like, man, I'd play this fighting game if it wasn't for Zangief's command grab. Like, no, like just play the game and learn how to adapt, or just don't play the game. You know what I mean? The same is
Mhm.
true with modern controls. It's like modern controls aren't like, you know what I mean? Like they're not so overpowered that it's just taking over classic controls or whatever. It's like it's just another way to play
Mhm.
the game. You know,
Mhm.
if modern was truly as overpowered as it was, every single top player would be using it, right? Because
Mhm.
top players are going for what is going to win. They're going for what the
Right.
highest success rate is going to be for them. And some of
Mhm.
them do. Some of them choose it for certain characters, for certain matchups, sure. But it's not an across the board. It's not like, oh, in top 6 of Evo, all modern controls. No. You know?
Mhm.
So, and also it's just a stylistic preference, you know? If
Right.
you're someone who's never played fighting games before and this helps you get into it, go for it. I am a huge fan of implementing any system to make fighting games easier for people to get into because they're hard, right? It might not seem it to maybe more veteran players like ourselves, but fighting games are extremely difficult. I like from the timing of execution to understanding how inputs work to understanding how hit and block stun works to understanding frames. Like there is so much about fighting games that is complex and that doesn't even really give you like a solid answer. You know what I mean? Like like it's not like uh, there isn't like a perfect, oh, this is guaranteed situation. It's like, well, this beats other things. It's just infinite rock paper scissors scenarios. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I think you know, for me at least, I think the joy of fighting games is getting to the mind games, right? That's just for me.
Mhm.
Maybe other people it's other things, but I think anything that you can do to streamline a brand new player or any player for that matter, um, into that element where they get to have the conversation of fighting games of like that mental back and forth, the quickest is the best. Because everything before that is just it's just like you're just putting in hours to be able to execute doing that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm pro modern controls. Anyone who says anything else, like whatever, like you think it's so great, pick it. You don't think it's so great, then don't lose to it. That's it.
That's simple. That's so simple. That is so simple. That is such a simple, and it makes so much sense.
It really
I
does.
just don't. It makes so much sense. I just don't know why there's just a lack of respect for for the modern players, like the what that they have to go to. Like people downplay and it's like, oh man, he's using modern. Like, bro, so what?
Yeah.
What does that?
What does
So
that
what?
change?
What does
Did
it
modern give him
change?
a one button win the game? Like no.
Like this, the complaints are just ridiculous. I mean, it's balanced out pretty well. Now, maybe if it didn't do now, maybe if there wasn't a damage reduction, then maybe. But there is. They balanced it so that special moves do less damage, and you lose access to certain normals and stuff. So your combo routes aren't as expressive as they could be. I know, but that's a choice. That's a choice,
Right.
and some people are locked in and they're dedicated to the modern cause, and this is what it is. So can we say that we can put the modern players up there with the regular classic players? I don't honestly. I think a lot of people are not going to agree with that, but I feel that if we're going to talk about what's the best player, who's the best player for this character, or who's a really strong player for this character, and you mention somebody, then another person would be like, "Oh, that person uses modern. Oh, they use modern. That don't count." I mean, how many times have I heard that, yo? How many times I've heard that too many times where people try to take away from Tachikawa. So Tachikawa, he's a modern edge player, right? and he placed really high evil. Placed really high evil. He People were like, "Oh man, he's only using modern," and that was it. That's all they were saying. Oh, it's
Right.
just because he's using modern. I'm like, all right, whatever. But I feel like it's just more of just a control preference. It's not nothing that's going to be new or foreign to anybody. Like more fighting games are introducing these types of controls.
Yeah.
So I think with more games that are coming out and they keep putting that in there, like for example, KOF, they didn't have to include the smart style. Tekken 8, they didn't have to introduce, the easier control scheme in Tekken 8. They did. They did that to help newer players get into the game, and so the game can be more accessible for them, so they can be able to compete with, these veterans and titans of the game like that. And there's a skill ceiling that it obviously reaches because you're not utilizing the full potential of the character. So because of that, you're limiting some of your resources in order that could help you win the match. But you're aware of that, but you choose to go with that control scheme. So that again, it just comes down to your choice of what you prefer. And that particular individual, they prefer modern controls. It's not for
Yeah.
everybody because it's an option. Now it'll be a different if it's like, all right, now we're trying to see modern controls are overpowered because now they buff the damage or now they can do this, 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 this. Game is still undergoing balance changes and patches, right? So I'll give you an example where just recently when they had the big change, the big balance patch for Akuma, right, where majority of the characters got changes. Some of the changes included some of their combos in modern mode that they could do. Some of that got actually changed for certain characters, and certain special moves work different during the modern combos for the auto combos. So I think later down the line we're going to see more changes like that, for sure. Because before, if a character was in burnout, they couldn't get access to certain combos in burnout. Now they fixed it where certain characters can do combos in burnout, which helps them. So I
Right.
feel like the game is going to keep undergoing changes in order to help out, maybe help out the modern mode a little bit more. But I don't. It's not overpowering. Modern mode is definitely not overpowering. So, and plus, there's definitely ways to beat that. It just depends on the reactions of the players. Some players got really eagle eye, or sharp reactions where they can respond to DIs and can react to drive rushes and stuff like that really good. And I don't think we should take away the accomplishments of any modern players who are able to compete at a high level. That's all. That's just my
Yeah.
take on it, though.
Do you mind if I add on that?
Yes.
Uh, yeah, I'll just say that again, kind of mentioning what I said earlier about I just don't listen to complainers. I just don't. Like like I feel like you're allowed to complain if you are showing that you are willing to work on it, right? If you're like, man, I hate XYZ about this game, or I'm losing to this thing, you can complain about it so long as you're looking for solutions and actively trying to solve it. Otherwise, you're just complaining, and that's not going to solve anything. And the same thing true about these control types is the same people. I promise you, the same people complaining about oh, modern controls or whatever, the same people who gate kept other control types back in the day of oh, you play on pad. A long time ago, a pad player was considered to be a less serious or less experienced player than people who at the time would only use arcade sticks. This is back in the old days.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? It's the
Whoa.
same mentality, right? It's just
Mm-hmm.
gatekeeping other players because they can't. Ironically, I also think is crazy that the same thought process is all fighting games have always been about adaptation and growth because there's never a final, you know what I mean? Dark Strike is still being
Mhm.
played, and we got Hugo in third place of top of all of Evo. You know what I mean? 20 years after the game came out. The game is always evolving. So it's every fighting game has always been about growth, about adaptation, about new strategies coming out. And ironically, the people that complain, I feel, the most about oh, they're doing XYZ or changing things. It's yeah, of course they're changing things. That's what fighting games do. They evolve, they grow with the people and the players. And and it's just honestly, I just think it's people who just don't want to accept that fact or grow or learn, who are the ones that are using excuses like this of modern control types or different types of players or different, ooh, levelless is cheating or whatever. Like, shut up. Like, like, just admit that you don't either A, want to get better at this game or put in the time it's required to do it. Like, that's it, And that's fine. If you don't want to actually like legitimately get better and you just want to watch a game, that's okay. You can be a spectator. Just don't be a spectator who downs and discredits everyone else's efforts, That's all.
All right, well, it is. I couldn't have said it any better than myself, yo. Oh my goodness, yes, yes, indeed, man. So y'all hear that? That's knowledge. That's knowledge, man. Just read. The buddy's gonna have y'all rethinking some things out here, man. I'm telling you. All right, well, and that's the case. I think that'll wrap it up here for the panel question portion. Of it, retro. We had talked about this too many times, but in case just in case you had
Mm-hmm.
any thoughts you want to go ahead and drop, but unless we good to go on the next session.
All right. So ready for the advertisements?
All right, yep. We getting ready to get on to the good old fashioned advertisements. Let's go.
All right. Yeah, I think we talked playing today. I got my little preaching moment in, and definitely, buddy, definitely amazing wisdom that you share, especially as a community
Yeah, he
leader.
cooked.
So
He cooked.
thank you
He
so
definitely
much,
cooked.
man.
Yeah.
But of
Yeah,
course,
thank you so much.
just pretty much add to everyone's point though about the community stuff because we have plenty of tournaments and we'll showcase you. So first event that's actually happening a little later on this evening, actually in about an hour and a half. Y'all guys check out Untamed Gaming Season 3 of online tournament for Street Fighter 6. Go to their so you go to their Twitch or you go to their Twitter or Discord. Check out the information. Try to enter the tournament. Good people from the West Coast, but also got people in the UK and many other various areas. Support the homies. They're amazing people. We may one day do another run back with them in the team exhibition, and that has been fun. Definitely though, check them out though. The tournament series that is actually an hour and a half from now, and yeah, there's all the details right there. But of course, for here locally, this is an example of what we do for a community, and this is what we've been. Actually, I was asked by our own community to make this happen, and they actually kickstarted a little bit themselves. So we now have Tuesdays casuals at JBA, which is another location down the street from Reboot. So one of the players who works in that venue, shout out to Leon, wanted to have casuals going on in that area, and the owner of that venue is super thrilled. He was like, "I don't care. This is amazing. I love it. I'm glad you guys have this going on." And that was a perfect example of not only just having the community, but people outside the community and local businesses, people supporting this. In addition, that makes it even more successful and makes the community thrive even longer. So yeah, these are just the various games that we have, and they do little drink specials and stuff, and may do a little raffle for buying drinks and so forth, and feature other things that's happening in the venue. But definitely come down, play some games, have a good time. It's already been picking up numbers already, and they just started it last month actually. But of course, if not make it on Tuesdays, then of course we always do our usual Thursdays at Reboot for the casuals there. And so the staff there is always willing to welcome you guys, welcome arms, and open arms. And of course, we'll have casuals there on Thursdays. So 2 days casuals going on. Well, JBA on Tuesdays and Reboot on Thursdays. And of course, upcoming tournament, we're not gonna have Street Fighter 6, but we are doing our usual retro rivals tournament. Where you're gonna have, of course, classic fighting games. We're gonna have Melty Blood, Access Actress again, current code. We're gonna have Street Fighter 3, Third Strike, Street Fighter 4, Ultra Street Fighter 4, and it's Melee. But the new game that's on the market that we decided to rotate in, because it's getting a sequel soon and everybody excited for it, we're going to have Mark of the Wolves to be featured for the rotation and for the tournament series. So shout outs to that community trying to build up there. So come down, come through if you're free next Saturday to check out the tournament, or this upcoming Saturday rather. And yeah. And I decided to take the liberty of not only just adding the 404 events that's happening in the month of August, but also the Augusta CSRA, Carolina Savannah River Augusta community. They have their monthlies on usually on Sundays now, and of course they have Street Fighter 6 that's adding a rotation, and that's at the Ronald McDonald's House of Charities, and then you also have Coco's Monthly, which is the Savannah scene, or Coastal Concourse was the full name. Shout out to them. They have their Saturday monthly on the 17th of August, and that will be at the Roll the Bones at Savannah Center. And they have plenty of games. I think they're featuring some classic ones in addition, but they will also have a sneak peek of the 2 Double SKO or Project L Alpha feature there. So check it out down there if you get a chance. And then, of course, didn't get the full details of their monthly for Street Fighter yet, but I know that on Fridays at least there'll be fight nights and stuff for at 404, and Street Fighter is featured among a few other games. That's not the right games besides Street Fighter, but at 8 o'clock you come through for some Street Fighter and other fighting games that may be featured there. So definitely check them out in 404 Esports in Doraville.
Yeah.
All right, and I let ShadowAce give more details about the Kansas City if he want to, but I'll try not to take over.
Big shout outs to Robbie V, man. I said that we were going to try to advertise more communities and scenes out there, and man of my word, I said this here with this information going on August 31st is Max Out, their big 2K pop bonus in for the variety of different games you see there for Tekken 8, Street Fighter 6, Ultimate Marvel Capcom 3, and Skullgirls. Information can be found out on www.kcfgc.com or go to start.gg/max out there for more registration information. Kansas City big premiere event returns, which is Max Out. I do know a couple of our players here, Riley. Well, not here, but a couple of players we're familiar with here that I'll be rooting for. Of course, is Dat Vip, Dontavius Vipperton out there doing his
Yeah.
thing with his Cammy and his Kimberly too as well. You got Riles Barkley with his DJ out there. So, plenty of action going down on that day. Big shout out to the Kansas FGC scene. And Robbie V said that he wanted to run back on a podcast. Well, I am here to announce, sir, you will be on this season. I will definitely be hitting you up that with the details soon in regards to scheduling that. Big shout outs to Robbie V and shout outs to Max Out. I already know it's going to be a great event.
And of course, last but not least, we got CEO Taku. So definitely, if you enjoy CEO in general, there is the kind of like the sister part of the series called CEO Taku in Orlando, Florida, and I forgot the name of the hotel exactly, but there are a bunch of hotels. Right now, you can check the CEO Gaming Discord for more information. J Bailey is actually constantly communicating with people about it, so definitely check it out. And of course, these are the various games featured there, mostly catering to the anime / Kosoge community. But of course, you can't always just have that by themselves. Got accompanied with a little bit of Street Fighter, a little bit of Tekken, and Marvel and Smash. So definitely support the scene. It's been a really fun series. A lot of people enjoy it every time. Many of our players go there, and they have been booking hotels as we speak. So this year, Reboot, at least I'll say for us, we've been traveling like crazy this year. So from one to Evo to CEO to Combo Breaker and to here, and I think some are going to also so the details about DreamHack, we have not seen anything up yet, but hopefully that should be updated closer to the date. I know we're about to be nearly 3 months away. Well, no, less than 3 months away. I'm sorry. because now they moved up to October. But I know that I was also believe it's ran by Jabali and Tong, because Jabali runs the DreamHack tournament series. So I know that because of the fact that he's been busy on the bigger stuff and other things in general, he might have those details finalized at some point. So we just got to wait on that. But I believe, rest assured, that we will have a tournament for the FGC of a sort at DreamHack. Because it would be weird to not do so after they've been there for a while. But yes, as for Sea Otaku, check it out and that so forth. Also upcoming in the same month of DreamHack, but later on is Climax at Night. We will have more detail. We'll have that maybe next go around for when we advertise closer to the date or next episode. So definitely, these are just tournaments all over from local to majors to premieres to regional, whatever. And like I said, it's so many things that tell you that the community is thriving in many ways. It may not be the way that you expect to be many years ago, but for those that are still here, trying to do their best to keep thriving, keep on thriving, support them, give them encouragement. Hopefully, it may help them expand even more to where we might have maybe not hopefully oversaturation, but a good abundance of communities and scenes and tournaments and events happening for the people to check out. So yeah, but that's all the announcements. So I'll let you close out with any closing remarks, ShadowAce.
All right. Once again, before I hit those closing marks, once again, want to thank everybody so much for tuning in to the live broadcast, or if you're listening to the rebroadcast here on the YouTube channel that I believe will be posted. It should be going live around 12 noon tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Retro. If not, you'd let me know about when that'll be posted up there for people can listen to. So if you're listening to the rebroadcast, thank you so much for that support all the way through. Again, it's always a pleasure to get a chance to speak with and talk with different people within the FGC community, just to hear their thoughts and opinions on certain matters. And you just never know what kind of wisdom or gems of knowledge they'll drop on you. And we had one, here with Buddy like Friend today, dropping all kinds of knowledge for people to digest. So hopefully, some words resonate and they hit home, and then like, dang man, maybe these adjustments can be made, and maybe there is a chance for us to make something happen. Thanks, buddy. So you just never know who's listening, man. So once again, thank you guys so much for your support. Before we get out of here, buddy, did you have anything else you'd like to talk about or ask or shout out or anything of that nature?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, first and foremost, thank you all both for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate both of you for continuing to just give to the fighting game community, to give to the local scenes, and make a space for us here, in Georgia. So thank you both so much for that. And then secondly, yeah, I guess I wanted to make just kind of like maybe like some small shout outs. Obviously, 404, we're there all the time. Data FGC, I know they've been busy with Evo and so many other things, but I haven't reached out to them recently, but I feel they're probably going to continue their +2 on Block series soon. So I'd say, look out for that. Zone Breakers in Fayetteville, they are monthly as well. Check them out as well. If you need any of the information how to get to any of them, you can hit me on Twitter at BuddyLikeFriend, or on Discord, same tag. Yeah, and then just a small kind of I don't know. I'll call it a small piece of something I'm trying right now. In our community, something that I've also tried that maybe might help y'all, or I don't know, maybe not. But I've also started doing what I call hybrid online events. Um, we are in the fortunate
Hmm.
position over at 404 where, so the new owner, Jose, or Shears, because it's called 404 by Shears now. Um, that venue now has a lot of these like PC setups. So what we're doing and what we've done actually in the past, and I'll probably do another one coming up in the future is, for the last CPT event, we had players who were registered online, like on PC. They came into the shop for that online tournament. So what we did was we had Musa and Yugo and a bunch of others come through, play their matches side by side with us because the PC setups are literally right next to each other, like in a streamline. and then we just rooted for each other, and we streamed it at the same time. So we were streaming all of their matches through that CPT event while commentating and while also like rooting each other on. And I gotta tell you, like, it felt like going to a major in the same way of being able to root on your homies. It was easily one of my most favorite events that we've run, and I kind of put that together. So I strongly recommend, if any of you are considering of other ways to try to engage with
Ooh.
players locally or even online, I think it's a great way to try to meet everyone sort of where they're at, right? So that they don't feel excluded. We meet on Wednesdays for TNS in our online events every week in the 404 Discord. So what happens is, we get together with all of our local players and we all register online for that tournament, and then we jump into our Discord channel on Wednesday nights and play Street Fighter throughout that bracket. We cheer each other on, we help each other out, and at the end, when everyone's done, we just go into a lobby and we all play each other, and we all get to say, oh, okay, let's think about that matchup, or we help each other grow in different situations. So week by week, we're getting a little bit stronger, and we're bonding together with each other and rooting for each other. And I gotta say, it's
Mm.
easily my most favorite time of the fighting game community to have that as an option. So I really do, I guess, encourage all of you, especially, Sir Retro as a TO, utilizing the full front of both Discord and online tournaments, and giving players an ability to meet each other in person and online at the same time with these kind of hybrid events that I've kind of started doing, if possible. If
Mm-hmm.
not, then just do your onlines or whatever, or however you want to build your community. But I just feel like it's a great tool, and we've seen a lot of really great kind of, yeah, feedback from that. So
Okay.
just just a noteworthy thing to you and anyone else who's running a community. I strongly recommend taking your own version of that format to grow your own scene.
Um, and this you're doing this weekly for the online
Yeah.
events?
So yeah,
Okay.
so
Okay.
so effectively, because we have the fortunate position of having an in-person local scene on our
Okay.
Fridays and our monthlies, right? We
Mhm.
take all those people and we just advertise them and say, hey, every Wednesday, because TNS is like, I think, still the biggest online free tournament to enter. And we just say, hey, this is a free event. You can do it in the comfort of your home, but we're all going to do it together in our own Discord so that we all get to like stream. We can stream the matches to each other so we can watch each other's matches, and we get to talk to each other and encourage each other and train with each other afterwards. So we really make an event of it every week. And then separately to that, occasionally for big events like CPT events or whatever, we'll do a hybrid online event where we get people physically in the door to play their online tournaments together in person. And then other players, if they want, they can also, of course, just play online at the convenience of their home as well. But it gives more access to all players to choose how they want to engage with their community, and to choose how they want to, be celebrated or not. So yeah,
Oh, wow.
that's the setup that we do. So I just wanted to, I don't know if you guys had known about that or anything, but I just wanted to spread knowledge as I was growing with this and see, if you all wanted to take it, by all means take it.
Okay. Alright, that, wow, that sounds amazing. That definitely that's definitely an interesting thing. I mean, it'll get people more interactive and having
Right.
them willing to travel because people will be like, "Hey, nice to see you." You come back next week, "Hey, what's going on?"
Right,
So,
exactly.
you get to know the person instead of, kind of just being at home. But I think that's an interesting approach. I don't think I've ever heard of that being done as like a format, but I think it's an interesting format. Simply because again, it can get people out of the door and into the venue to try to
Right.
at least be in the atmosphere. And you got people giving you advice too as well, so that's also a good thing.
Yeah, and I also think the real benefit of it comes from the fact that because you're in Discord together with each other, right? You immediately have the ability to message each other later and be like, "Oh, hey, thanks for this tech," or "Oh, hey, here's some ideas I think you might like for your character," or "Here's some setups." You immediately have an ability to message each other because you're all in the same chat together. And then on top of that, that encourages you because you're like, oh, I really like this person that helped me out. Now I get to physically meet them in person at a local. So I think it really does. It's kind of self motivating. The more you engage on the online, it wants me to make go in person, and vice versa.
Mm. Okay. All right. Well, then, in that case, that's definitely a interesting format. And where can people find the 404 streams for
Yeah.
the tournament?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. I'm pretty certain it's twitch.tv slash 404 esports. And I think that is an actual O in that. I don't think it's a zero. Let me make sure on that one.
Mm.
I'm going to test it right now. Boop, 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 boop. Yep, it is a zero. It's a O. It is not a zero. So don't type 404. Type uh
You don't want to get an
Type,
error.
yeah, you
You
don't
don't
want
want
to
to
get
see
an
an
error
error
code.
code.
Yeah, get yeah, you will not find it in many ways.
Hmm.
But yeah, 4O, the
Mhm.
letter 4 esports. So just twitch.tv slash 404 esports. But if you need a connection to get into the Discord or any of that, you can message me directly at BuddyLikeFriend again on Twitter, or I'm sorry, on Twitch or on Discord. Either of those ways, and I will be happy to link anyone listening or anyone who wants to learn about this to any of our communities.
Yeah.
And likewise, if any other communities want to be shouted out, I am a huge believer of just I will boost anyone's thing. I don't care who it is. If you're running a tournament, if you're running an event, if you want to get people into your scene, send it to me. I'll retweet it. I'll post it. So yeah, let the network continue.
All right. Well, there it is. Once again, do thank Buddy like friend for joining us. But Buddy, where can the good people find you at for to try to contact you if need be?
Yeah, like I said earlier, on you can find me on Twitter at Buddy Like Friend, all one word. My name, Buddy like you like something, and then friend like a friend. Buddy Like Friend at Twitter, or you can hit
Mm.
me up at Buddy Like Friend on Discord as well, and just send me a message. Either of those ways are my easiest ways to get a hold of me. I'll usually respond within a day or two. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Well, Retro, what about you? Where can the good people find you at?
Of course, y'all guys can find me pretty much everywhere. Sir Retro08 on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Threads now, just to branch out a little bit more. And of course, in Discord, I'm known as Mayor of Macon. That's was a personal error because well misread on the rules when they updated Discord at that point, but it's there. I just kept it and stuck. But yes, yeah. So Retro08, and then of course mainly here, and also yeah YouTube too. Also of course Twitch here is Sir underscore Retro08, and I actually try to stream a little bit more than just the podcast and a few other things. So definitely that's where you can find me for sure. Virtually almost everywhere.
Okay. All right. Well, there it is. I guess you guys can check me out on Twitter, x.com at Mind of Shadow Ace. That's where a majority of my contact information will go. If you need to reach out, if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, if you want to sit here and talk with us, me and Retro, just like Buddy did for over 2 hours with us. You got something to say, you got something you want to get off your chest, go ahead and talk to us, man. Just send us a message. We can see about booking you in for a future episode. And we just want to highlight and speak with the talent, local talent in the scene. That's all we're about over here is promotion and growth for the FCC. So again, thank you guys so much. All of our day ones has been with us. I said that at the beginning. I'll say it at the end. You guys have been the pillars of this flagship of this show's success. For sure, it's the people who are tuning in. Again, you never know who is watching because I believe one day we did have a Capcom employee lurking in the chat before. I said, "Whoa, this is an official verified symbol here. Wait, what's going on?" But shout out to everybody that's been tuning in and checking us out here. Stay tuned for us on our social medias for the next episode to drop here. Hope you guys have been enjoying the season one premiere with Buddy Like Friend. And stay tuned. We'll get more information. We got more information coming up for you guys for more future guests and content. Again, this has been Shadow Ace, Sir Retro from Team I Got Next. You guys take care, be safe, And Retro, where we gonna send the good people at?